Live from KSAT 12, the Nightbeat starts right now.
Tonight on the Nightbeat, the founder of the Kirk County Sheriff Agency's fundraising arm finally facing justice for a long history of crimes. Also tonight, the first public hearing in Kirk County on next year's budget, and it may have included a tax hike. But first is a story that went from the classroom to the ICU. A mother says that her son was rushed to the hospital after taking what he thought was a THC gummy. She spoke with the Night Team's John Paul Barajas and has a warning tonight for parents.
No parent wants to see their kid unconscious, period, but not knowing anything, not knowing what's going on and having him completely unresponsive with no answers to why is nerve-wracking. It's heartbreaking. You're helpless.
16-year-old Aiden Valderas was rushed from Southside High School to the hospital last Tuesday, according to his mom, Cassie.
I can tell you every emotion possible fled through my heart and my mind.
Seeing your son unconscious in a hospital bed, what are you doing right there? Are you talking to him? Are you saying anything to him?
I was crying and begging him to wake up. I shook him, I kissed him, I hugged him,
Cassie says during lunch, her son and another student went to their cars, and that's when Aiden was offered a THC gummy, adding soon after he started throwing up and took a turn for the worse.
Doctors think highly that it was laced based on the way he reacted, the amount of time it took for him to come to. I won't know that for a while. I did turn over the rest of that gummy to the district police to have it tested.
According to hospital documents, the diagnosis is cannabis abuse and other psychoactive substance abuse. Psychoactive substances can mean a lot of things, ranging from nicotine and alcohol to cannabis, cocaine, and LSD, just to name a few. In all, Aiden spent 25 hours at the hospital.
By then, he was awake, he was aware, he was able to respond and speak. Still seemed a little off in some aspects, very forgetful.
A week since the incident, Cassie says Aiden's doing much better and that they're blessed. But she has this warning for other families.
Don't take for granted that you've had the talk. Don't take for granted that your child knows better.
Now, we have been in contact with Southside ISD. They tell us a field test was performed on the gummy and that only THC was found, but that they sent it to a lab for further testing. They also sent us this statement saying, based on Southside ISD's ongoing investigation, we believe portions of the information provided to KSAT 12 by other sources appear to be untrue. Unfortunately, due to student confidentiality, FERPA, we cannot go into specifics about the case at this time. The safety and security of all SIISD students is our #1 priority. We encourage all to report any concerning activity, end quote. Stefania.
All right, JP, thank you for that. We're certainly happy that that boy is doing okay. In other news tonight, one man is dead, another is charged with his murder. And Bexar County sheriffs say that it was all because of a love triangle. The suspect that you're looking at is 21-year-old Mason Rodriguez. Sheriff's deputies say that he shot Enrique Perales at 7 o'clock last night at a home on Calle Fincias, just south of U.S. Highway 90. And when they got there, they found the 29-year-old victim with multiple gunshot wounds to the chest. Investigators say that the victim had been shot at least a dozen times. Investigators say that they were romantically involved, both of those men, with the same woman. They also think that the suspect was with other people at the scene of the crime. So they're asking anybody with information about this case to call the Bexar County Sheriff's Office. Today, a Virginia-based nonprofit law enforcement group released a report that sheds new light on the Wren Collective, which is a criminal justice group that's based out of Austin, and its close ties to the Bexar County District Attorney Joe Gonzalez. So if you remember that name, the Wren Collective, back in January of 2024, KSAT revealed that that group had been working with Gonzalez, influencing cases and policies right after he took office. And this new report that we're telling you about shows that the Wren Collective has also been working with more than 40 prosecutors across the country, including 5 right here in Texas. It also reveals that Gonzalez used 4 personal email accounts for official business and not his county account. We reached out to the Wren Collective and the DA's office for comment. So Jessica Brand from the Wren Collective said in part, quote, "It is strange that when there are major mental health challenges in law enforcement and a recruitment crisis, this organization wants to focus on Wren," end quote. As for Gonzalez, he declined to comment on this report. In Kerrville, people still have one big question tonight, and that is whether their property taxes are going to go up. Today, city leaders met to discuss raising the property tax rate. To be clear, it's something that they can do. They can raise the rate. In a normal year, most taxing districts in Texas calculate their voter approval rate using a 3.5% revenue growth rate. But in the tax year immediately following a disaster, districts can calculate the voter approval rate with an 8% growth rate. That second option is what the city of Kerrville has been exploring over the last 2 months. And city leaders are saying that if they choose that 8% rate, it could bring in nearly $337,000 additional dollars, but they still haven't decided whether they're going to go that route. And during tonight's meeting, just listen to what people told them.
I think we're rushing. I think that we're rushing into this 8%.
I respectfully ask that you do what needs to be done for us to continue the quality of life and maintain the services that we need for the city that we love.
Raising property taxes of any kind may fill a budget line today, but it risks driving away the very families and businesses that keep Kerrville alive tomorrow.
Again, they haven't decided on those property tax rates. However, what they did do is approve the budget, which is something that they needed to do before moving forward with the tax hike. Now, we do expect Kerrville city leaders to make a decision on the tax rate when it meets in 2 weeks. We also learned tonight that there could be an exemption for property owners who were affected by the July 4th floods. And you can find those details on KSAT.com. Really emotional night for the Northeast ISD community as they gathered to remember a beloved teacher. You might remember Mr. Timothy Kitterman. He taught American Sign Language over at MacArthur High School. He died on campus last week after suffering a medical emergency. And tonight, his family, friends, colleagues, and students honored him at a memorial service at Grace Point Church. And they made it very clear that he was a special person who they'll never forget.
Mr. Kinnaman was like one of my favorite teachers. He was just amazing. He introduced me not only to like ASL, but a whole different culture, like deaf culture, and that's something I'll always take with me into life.
Mr. Kitterman taught for more than 20 years. MacArthur had awarded him Teacher of the Year back in 2019. The Kerr County Sheriff distancing his office from a convicted felon who founded the agency's fundraising arm. James Hunter Schmidt was sentenced to 8 years in prison last month after a long history of drunk driving and assault arrests in and around Kerrville. The Night Team's Dylan Collier looks into why it took so long for Schmidt to face significant justice. Now, a warning tonight, the following story contains images of family violence injuries.
Did you really squeeze the testicles of an old man?
The person on the receiving end of that question is James Hunter Schmidt. In November 2021, the Kerr County Sheriff's Foundation celebrated its kickoff gala. In these photos posted on the group's Facebook page, Sheriff Larry Letha and Schmidt, at the time the president of the nonprofit, were seated side by side.
If you want to talk about backing the blue, this is what we're going to do with our bucks, right?
Tattooed on us.
Yeah.
This interview on the Kerrville Lead video podcast was among several appearances made by Schmidt that fall on behalf of the fledgling foundation, which hoped to raise funds for a sheriff's office tactical vehicle and special response team.
Larry will be given a speech on what the need is in the county from us.
Secretary of State and tax paperwork shows the nonprofit was formed in early July 2021, with Schmidt listed as a director, its registered agent, and its first president.
But law enforcement here had been familiar with Schmidt for more than a half-decade before he helped establish the Kerr County Sheriff's Foundation.
In fact, just weeks before creating the nonprofit, Schmidt pleaded guilty to felony DWI third or more and felony attempted injury to the elderly after the Kerr County Sheriff's Office, the same agency Schmidt was now raising funds for, gathered evidence Schmidt had grabbed and squeezed the testicles of a 74-year-old man. As part of a multi-case plea deal, prosecutors tossed out a separate charge of driving with an invalid license, and a judge sentenced Schmidt to 10 days in jail and 10 years probation. Schmidt's legal troubles were far from over. In January 2023, he was arrested for family violence and was later sentenced to 60 days in jail. What should have been a 5-year prison sentence for the felony probation violation, according to the judgment of conviction, was reduced to just 2 years in prison. In the summer of 2024, records show a now free Schmidt struck again. His girlfriend told police during a dispute at a Kerrville home, he repeatedly punched her, spit on her, and threw her into a door jamb, splitting her head open. Schmidt was arrested days later on a felony charge of family violence with a previous conviction. We caught up to Schmidt, who goes by Hunter, as he arrived to be sentenced in his most recent case late last month. Find out what he had to say next on the Nightbeat.
Welcome back. We continue our story about the man who created and led the Kerr County Sheriff's Foundation just weeks after pleading guilty in 2 felony cases. And James Hunter Schmidt's trail of criminal activity continued on from there. The night team's Dylan Collier spoke with Schmidt as the defendant arrived to be sentenced in a felony family violence case late last month.
Hunter, we talked to you for a couple minutes. I'm Dylan with KSAT 12.
No, I'm okay.
What is your relationship with Sheriff Larry Letha?
Oh, I don't have one.
Okay.
So
I think social media would tell a different story.
yeah, no, I don't have one. I appreciate it though. Thanks.
What was
guys.
your role with the Sheriff's Office Foundation?
I don't have one at the moment, so
No, what was it?
I don't have one.
What was your role? with the
I'm good,
Sheriff's
guys. I
Office?
appreciate it. Thanks.
It's unclear when or even if Schmidt stopped working on behalf of the foundation. He does not appear in the most recent tax paperwork turned in by the group, and officials from the organization did not respond to multiple requests from KSAT for comment on this story.
What do you have to say to all your victims?
Don't.
The 2 women? Did you really squeeze the testicles of an old man? Do you find it ironic that you would be behind the Sheriff's Office Foundation and have so many run-ins with the law here in Kerr County?
Cameras were not allowed inside court for Schmidt's nearly 2-hour sentencing. His ex-wife, Rebecca Schmidt, testified he was a decorated Marine Corps veteran who came back from a deployment to Afghanistan a different person, and that his drinking caused the decline of their marriage. After she described their relationship as great, the prosecutor said, quote, "I'm sure everything wasn't great when your kids were with him and he attacked the victim." The manager of the sober living house where Schmidt began residing this spring called him a leader and a guy who works the program, testifying that Schmidt had not tested positive for alcohol since entering the home. Schmidt's Alcoholics Anonymous sponsor told the court, quote, "What I saw from Hunter right away was a desire to change," before adding that Schmidt had not relapsed in the past 11 months. The visiting judge was not swayed. After asking out loud why Schmidt had been given so much latitude by the court in previous cases, he sentenced him to 8 years in prison, the maximum allowed as part of a plea agreement with prosecutors. Schmidt's most recent victim told him during her statement in court that he was not a Marine and wound up here because he was surrounded by enablers. For KSAT Investigates, I'm Dylan Collier.
Kerr County Sheriff Larry Letha did not respond to repeated requests from KSAT for an interview, and in a 2-line email he told us, quote, "Mr. Schmidt formerly served on the board of the Kerr County Sheriff's Foundation, a citizen-founded and citizen-led IRS 501c organization. He's not a current or former employee of the Kerr County Sheriff's Office." All right, switching gears now. You see that it's 78 degrees, obviously. We're looking forward to a nice morning tomorrow. But here's the thing. If you're somebody with respiratory issues, Sarah, tomorrow is a day when you really need to be careful.
I think, yeah, there is an ozone action day in effect tomorrow, and sometimes we see ozone levels get a little bit higher, also known as pollution, get a little bit higher when there's a high pressure system kind of trapping pollution to the surface. So tomorrow's one of those days where if you have respiratory illness, you might want to be on alert for a couple of hours. So an ozone action day in effect tomorrow, pretty much for that I-35 corridor from San Antonio all the way up to Austin, high population areas. Again, it is possible for afternoon ozone to be elevated slightly, not guaranteed, but those with respiratory issues should use caution. And I think another thing to do is tomorrow's a great carpool day. If you can save on gas and help out with the pollution, that's a good way to do it. Now, tomorrow morning, we are going to have another cool morning. this morning we got down to 65 degrees. Tomorrow we'll be at 68, right around sunrise, so 7:15-ish. Make sure to step outside and you'll feel that crisp, cool fall air. But by the middle of the week, we'll be back to temperatures close to average for this time of year. So what I want to do is I want to show you a neighborhood look at the morning lows tomorrow. We're actually going to zoom in here. Now, usually in the higher elevations and away from the city center, you can see temperatures even cooler than what San Antonio is. So areas like Bernie, Comfort, Sisterdale, going to be closer to 60 degrees. Even Leon Springs, Helotes, some northwest neighborhoods like Fair Oaks Ranch, Bulverde, Timberwood Park, right around 63 to 64. Then as you head closer to the city traps in heat from the day before. And so by tomorrow morning, we're really going to be looking at a morning low around San Antonio, close to about 70 degrees. So a little bit warmer closer to San Antonio. Now looking ahead to the rest of the day, we'll be seeing temperatures warm to near 80 by 10, 86 around noon, the lunch hour, totally sunny skies and a high of 94. Today we got up to 90, so we're just going to be a little bit warmer tomorrow. 94 in New Braunfels, 95 in Gonzales, 95 in Del Rio, 96 in Carrizo Springs, but we are going to have low humidity during the peak heat of the afternoon. So that is some good news too. So humidity will be lower tomorrow. As we look ahead to the rest of the week though, slightly higher humidity, but still low enough to be considered pleasant, especially when it comes to those afternoon heat index values. We're not going to have much. Looking at clouds and radar, it is a quiet night across the nation. Not too much going on as high pressure is set to really take hold in the coming days. High means dry, and watch this. Over the next several days, we're not expecting any rain, not only around San Antonio in Texas, but across a good portion of the United States, including the lower part of the Mississippi. Rain is not likely for the next 7 days. But even looking beyond that, beyond the next 7 days, we're talking the next 2 weeks, there are some indications that we could possibly be dry in San Antonio through the next 2 weeks. Now, any forecast beyond 7 days is subject to change because it's just so far in the future. But this is a possibility, a real possibility that we could be dry within the next 2 weeks. But what we do know is that this upcoming weekend is going to be relatively rain-free. You know, the last couple of weekends we've had some rain. So if you have some errands to run, want to spend some time outdoors, this weekend's going to be a good weekend for that. Highs will be in the mid-90s. Stephanie.
Cool. Thank you. So we've discussed, Mary, UTSA trying to keep its spirits high because, you know, the loss really wasn't that easy. But then you have Texas State, and they really have to keep their eye on the ball. They're facing a tough challenge ahead.
A very tough challenge. Texas Longhorns fans remember this team, Arizona State. They went to double OT in the quarterfinals of the college football playoff last year, and that's who the Bobcats face in week 3. And we bring you sights and sounds from UIW and UTSA's joint pep rally ahead of their Saturday clash in the Alamo Dome.
I just want to encourage everybody to come out to the game on Saturday at 2:30. We don't have an NFL team, so all eyes on UIW and UTSA, two great football programs. So definitely need y'all support from Saturday.
San Antonio's 2 Division I football programs will clash this Saturday for just the second time ever in big board sports. All right, 6 years ago, UTSA and UIW met in the confines of the Alamo Dome in what was, fun fact, Frank Harris's first college game ever. Now, Harris threw 3 touchdowns en route to a 35-7 win. But a lot has changed since 2016 for both of these teams. For UIW, the program has added a few more conference championships, has had more playoff experience, and Clint Killo's squad has become a national powerhouse in the FCS, currently ranked 9th nationally.
He's really good. He's a good coach. He's had a great career. He's got a good football team. He's got a really good quarterback. He's got a really good running back. He's got good wide receivers. He's got a good offensive line. They got a good scheme. They got a history of winning, and they've had this game circled for a long time. So we know what we're getting into Saturday, and our kids got to be ready to roll.
UTSA has come a long way since then as well. The Roadrunners' current QB is the son of Josh McCown, who played in the NFL for nearly 2 decades, and he's also right now having a lot of success as the Vikings QB coach. Now, lefty QB Owen McCown has won the program 2 bowl games, and Jeff Traylor, while off to a slow start, has a lot of talent on his roster, including the FBS rushing leader, Robert Henry Jr.
They're a good football team. Jeff Traylor has done a tremendous job in building a perennial powerhouse at the G5 level in San Antonio. Couldn't have more respect for him and his program. They got good athletes in all three phases. The quarterback's a special player with his arms, with his feet. The running back is an NFL back for sure. They got a ton of experience up front on the O-line. They got speed out on the perimeter. McEwen is a stud. And then defensively, they fly around and they play well. I think their linebackers are improved from the previous year from an athletic skill set standpoint. And then they can create pass rush with 3 and 4 down.
That's a lot of praise on both sides, and tonight at the Pearl, UTSA and UIW came together for a joint pep rally. As you heard McCown say at the start of our sports segment, San Antonio, of course, doesn't have an NFL team, so the city's only 2 D1 programs going head-to-head is a treat, and both schools want sports fans in the city to take advantage of it. Photographer Ricardo Moreno spoke to both athletic directors at the pep rally, and here's what they had to say.
They have a strong locker room culture, and they look out for one each other. And on Saturday, they're going to be out there competing for one another and really to put on a good show for everybody wearing red and black and take our shot against the Roadrunners.
Obviously a tough loss this past weekend, and so just looking forward to our team bouncing back and, putting last week behind us and just having a great environment, hoping that the city of San Antonio will come out. We got to get 45,000 plus again in the Alamo Dome, supporting both these hometown teams.
Well, there you have it. Last time you'll see those two friendly foes in the same vicinity until this Saturday's 2:30 kickoff in the Alamo Dome.
Look, this is not like we're not playing just a middle of the road team here. This is a playoff team with, first round quarterback, first round receiver, draft picks at tight end and the secondary. I mean, this is a really good team we're playing.
Well, the Bobcats' 2025 resumes so far: a Week 1 rout of Eastern Michigan and a statement win in an emotional road game against UTSA. Next, Texas State has a date with a team that almost beat the Longhorns in the CFP quarterfinals last year, Arizona State. They're also the reigning Big 12 champs. Now it's a late night kickoff on Saturday, and it will be a real tough test for the Cats. All right, Victor Wembanyama is on a mission to find the best Spurs fans after the break. The Spurs baseline bumps have long been a staple of the San Antonio Spurs, and now it seems Victor Wembanyama wants to create another diehard Spurs fan group. Wemby was inspired by ultras in soccer, and he's holding a tryout this Sunday at Freeman Expo Hall to create a supporter section that'll later be renamed. It does come at a cost, but Wemby is all in on his idea.
It's a project that I've had for a long time, an idea. It's been an idea and now it's a project, and I'm very excited for it to just be more than something up there in the head, something real. If this group of ultras reaches its full potential, I have no doubt that it's going to help us win games in the future for sure.
Go to KSAT.com for more on this, all the information you need.
Spurs super fans.
Yes.
Ooh, I'd love to see how
there's a lot of them,
out.
so.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, thank you. We'll be right back after this.